Welcome back. And still with me is Comrade Peter Esele. What is the actual problem with the NNPC? What was the original vision of it, and where has the failure happened?
I think the original vision was for NNPC to be a major player in the oil and gas across the globe, not just busy importing kerosene and petrol. That's not the reason why it was set up. And also to maximize the benefit of oil and gas to all Nigerians, and that was basically what it was all about. But along the way, you have too much of government interference. You know, you just imagine you work here now. For example, you are made GMD today. Somebody makes you are appointed as GMD of NNPC today, and in 3 months you are fired. So how do you think of building an institution? I will tell you, in about 10 years, you have 10 years, 10 GMDs of NNPC. So how do you expect that to grow? That's one. Then number two, instead of the GMD being a professional, but instead of allowing him to act in that direction, it takes orders from Asurok, it takes orders from those in high authority. So at the end of the day, instead of putting his attention on NNPC, he will now want to be seen as a nice guy to those in higher office so that they can keep his job. But ordinarily, what should have helped the GMD to keep his job should have been his performance on the job. But at the end of the day, because of too much interference from presidency, from ministers, from everybody, so his or her eyes are off the ball. So the attention will now be, okay, let me keep my job. No matter what we say, the first law of life is survival. So the GMD wants to survive, he wants to keep his job. So at the end of the day, the president calls and said, okay, can you give an oil well to Mr. A?
I mean, this is all your interpretation of what's been going on.
It's not my interpretation, it's what I know.
But what you know is your interpretation.
No, when you say it's my interpretation, it gives it makes it look as if, okay, I may just be making it up. No.
Not that you're making it up, but it's
I'm
your
telling you,
understanding of the facts.
It's not. It's something that I've seen. It's something that I know. So I'm not. If anybody,
your observations.
Yes. If somebody want to disprove me, I'm ready for it. That's why I said I have sat with the GMD of NNPC and I know somebody talking about allocation, and the GMD has to put his hand up in the air and say, Peter, this is what I get every now and then. How do I work?
So what's the future for NNPC? So what do you want for NNPC? How do you envisage the future?
The future for NNPC is to allow NNPC to be run as a growing business concern. Now, you and I are not discussing NLNG right now, because NLNG is running as a growing business concern, and the federal government gets dividend every year from NLNG. The government owns a certain percentage, the operators own a certain percentage, so, and the government, we have a lot of people from NNPC who work in LNG. So no interference. And you know who is going to be the new boss. And the new boss grows through the ranks, and everybody knows that this boss is qualified. Nobody is calling the boss from Aso Rock and say, you have to discharge gas to XYZ. No. So once you allow it to run, and then we expect that, okay, this is what an NPC will represent for us. And then Saudi Arabia Aramco, Petrobras, these are NNPC peers. NNPC were already there before then. Start Oil. But again, if you want to talk about NNPC right now, is that we only know NNPC when we are facing queues, kerosene, petrol. That is what people now think of NNPC, and that is belittling NNPC. NNPC should be in the same class as Aramco, Petrobras, Start Oil. That's where NNPC should be, and whatever is needed to be done to take NNPC to that level, I think the union will also support it.
Well, talking about fuel scarcity and, long queues, all these horrific effects on the individual man on the street, what does Nigeria need to do to actually avoid this in future?
I think the bottom line is to create an enabling environment for you to also have private sector investment. First is make NNPC refineries work. I would say if I'm the president of Nigeria, I will sleep. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I'll do is to put a call to make sure. I think Dangote is planning his 400,000 barrel refinery. Is to call him, what's the progress? If he says it's 5 years, is there anything we can do to bring it to 3 years? So what you are doing variably is that you're looking at short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. In the short term, you are going to continue importation. I think even in the short term, it's also in our interest right now to be importing. The prices are down. that is, it's also good. But in the medium term to long term is that we need to now have to be self-sustaining. And in arriving at that, what that will do to you is that you also save forex, because there's so much pressure on external reserve, because I think we consume between 40 to 45% of our forex on importation of petrol, kerosene, and other petroleum product. So we can also avoid all of that. Long-term plan, encourage as many people as possible to come into that sector. I've always said it, that people who got licenses, who didn't go ahead to use the license to build refinery, I think it's glaring that they actually thought that was a place they can make quick money. Because but you have the Dangotes who are patient, because in that industry is margin, 1 naira, 1 kobo, 50 kobo. But if you have a very huge sales, that's when you make money. But if you are coming into that sector thinking that, okay, you are coming in now, you want to make a kill, they only make a kill when there is scarcity. If there's no scarcity, they're not going to make a kill, and you are not going to have people who are patient enough to do that. So that is a major challenge right now. But when they are ready to come in, you are going to have, in the long run, we won't have as much challenges as importing products. It's our I've always said it. Ordinarily, the entire West African coast should be coming to Nigeria to get products. It's our right to dominate it.
Thank you so much, Comrade.
You're welcome.
Peter Esele, for your insight. Thank you
welcome.
very much for coming on. Thank you for your mails, as always. I have this one from Henry, and it says, more should be done to protect all children, not just the girl child. Thanks, Henry, for your comment. You can also send your views and comments using the address and Twitter handle on your screen. You can also let us know anything happening within your area, especially if you're in the nation's capital. Don't forget, you can view the program on youtube.com/channelsweb/videos. You can make your comments after viewing the videos. Always remember to include your name and where you're writing from. I'm Yemisi Paye. See you next week.